Now, what do you think it could have improved on? And I knew what she wanted me to say, so I said it. I smile. Yeah. So, if we have to keep telling you to fix your attitude and fix your smile, you're gonna get written up. It was finished.
Write
and
me
I said
up,
goodbye
bro.
to everybody.
Just write me up, bro. You want to write me up just because you're giving me a write up, my nigga. God damn. All right, look, I like Chick-Fil-A, you feel me? This video by Jay Lynn, Confessions of a Chick-Fil-A Employee. I don't know if she currently worked there. It sounds like she already out of there, you feel me? Because especially if you got, you know what I'm saying? But I like Chick-Fil-A. I better not hear nothing negative about Chick-Fil-A because I like Chick-Fil-A. I might go get me some Chick-Fil-A today. It's Monday. Because you can't eat that shit on a Sunday. But let's get into this video. I hope she don't say something too negative.
Made this whole entire thing up. The title and thumbnail are clickbait. The story and any receipts I show are 100,000,000,000% fake. And I've never worked at Chick-Fil-A a day in my life. I repeat, I have never worked at Chick-Fil-A a day in my life. And this story is fake. So to all the people on Chick-Fil-A's legal team watching this, thinking they're about to get a lawsuit out of me, just know you aren't. Because for the 1,000th time, I made this all up. And this story is fake.
Chick-Fil-A, apparently the story is fake. YouTube, I mean, the story is fake. So, you know, don't come after me or my money. And yeah, love you. Attack her, not me. What?
The story actually took place this past summer, aka the summer before I went off to college. And being more than determined to beat the broke college student stereotype, I was hungrier for a bag than ever. And I'd heard through the grapevine that a Chick-fil-A pay was good. So of course I'm going on TikTok to do some research, but every other scroll, I was seeing employees having literal mental breakdowns over working there. And initially seeing this, I was just like, please, y'all just being dramatic and aren't serious about bag. So of course I applied for the job, and a few days later I was in the chair, seated for an interview. And of course I Googled and practiced every question.
Boy, I heard this a lot of shit you gotta go through just to be like, my pleasure.
But then the stuff that I was getting asked was completely out of left field. So me being me doing what I do, I just start pulling stuff out my butt. And I could tell these interviewers were eating everything and anything that I was saying up. Because every time I finished talking, they looked at each other with their brows raised like, and then start writing stuff down. And in my head, I was just like, So the interview finished, I shook both their hands, and I walked out knowing that the bag had been secured. So it came to no surprise when a few days later, I got a text telling me that they wanted me to join the team. And being the bag chaser that I am, of course I accept the offer. And a few days later, I was called in by one of the managers to come in and do some paperwork. And during this time, we were talking, and she had asked if I thought I was gonna get the job. And I was trying to be a thug about it, but I couldn't. And ended up just being like, yeah. Now for some very important context, right? During the interview, I had acrylic nails on. And I'm an extremely expressive person, as seen whenever I get on the internet to yeah. I talk a lot with my hands, and I was doing all the same in the interview. Shit.
She got a septum. Y'all know y'all don't think about women with septums or whatever. I'm just kidding.
Expressive person, as seen whenever I get on the internet to yeah. I talk a lot with my hands, and I was doing all the same in the interview. And then, when I came to the paperwork, which again, the lady who interviewed me was the manager, I still had my nails on, and my piercing was visible. And she didn't say or do anything to indicate that they would be a potential problem. And to back up even more, when I was doing my TikTok research, I was seeing people work there who had bigger piercings and longer nails than mine. So I was under the impression that I was going to be in the all clear. Anyways, my first day comes, and when I pull it up in my head, I was just like, I'm so nervy. But in an excited way, you know. However, the millisecond my big toe even hit the entrance, and I saw who my future coworkers were going to be, my spidey senses were immediately kicking in. Because when they greeted me and told me to wait around for a bit until they were ready for me or whatever, the smiles were more on the culty than welcoming side. And the girl who was in charge of training me, who we're just going to refer to as Op, introduces herself to me, gives me my uniform, and tells me that when I go to the bathroom and change, to put my hair in a bun, and also take my piercing out. Not even tuck it in, but take it out. And after I changed and looked into the mirror, which first of all, and excuse my French, you can listen German, right? But I was gonna be serving more in this uniform than food. Like I was serving some serious CUNT. But anyways, looking into the mirror, I could already see the life in my eyes starting to leave. And all the nerves that were initially out of excitement were now just out of nervousness alone. But at this point, I'm at the bathroom. And before we can start orientation, I had to download this app, but to do so, my phone had to get its most recent update. And because I'm a procrastinator when it comes to that, my phone was not. And the phone policy here was extremely strict. And for the duration of your shift, you're expected to have your phone locked up all the way in the back. Even looking at your Apple Watch for any longer than a millisecond was a big no-no. And for that reason, I had to have my phone face up flat on the counter as it updated. Phone updates, and then Op emails me a link. And again, thanks to the phone policy, my phone was face up flat on the counter as I looked for said email, which for whatever reason wasn't showing up. And Op also peeps this. And instead of, I don't know, trying to email to me again, this girl starts scrolling through my emails. Now, this wasn't absolutely mortifying to me because I had some top secret info on Area 51 in my emails. My thing was, this girl was approximately 3 scrolls away from seeing a notification of any Area 3 fanfiction that I had bookmarked start getting updated. But the email ended up being in my spam folder, crisis averted, and now it's finally time to start orientation. But before I can even start, Op says to me, you have to take your nails off. And the way that she was saying it, she was expecting me to do that on the spot. And excluding the fact that it's impossible, unless you want a bloodbath, that's something that you can't do with acrylics. And obviously in a more polite way, I tell her as much. And she goes, well, since today's your first day, you get a pass. But when you come in tomorrow, they need to be off. Mind you, I was working 7 a.m. to 2 p.m. this day and the same the next. And excluding the fact that I had bills to pay, places to be, just all around things to do when I clocked off that day, it is already so difficult to squeeze in a last minute nail appointment, let alone with the time frame that I was being given. Which again, in a more polite and corporate way, I tell her as much. But then I also out on the fact that when I come in on Saturday, which was my next shift after Tuesday, that they'd be off. So as you can see here, I am by no means trying or even being difficult. I'm giving a solution to the problem. I'm putting the conflict resolution skills that I put on my resume to work. And Hop just looks at me and says, well, if you come in tomorrow and you're still on, you're getting written up.
I didn't hear that.
And to those words, I felt my heart slide all the way down to my cheeks in real time. Because what do you mean? I'm not even an hour into my first day on the job and I'm already on the verge of getting written up. All I responded with was, okay, I'll see what I can do. But from that point on, I knew I was not gonna like this girl and we were not gonna get along.
Ain't no job be scaring me talking about some you're getting written up, okay? I don't give a fuck, nigga. Write me up.
So for real this time, I'm finally
fuck this shit, some high school shit, nigga.
And let me just say, I love some Jesus. Me and him, we are locked in #AF. But I had to watch 8 or 10 videos, right? And at the start of every single one of them, they would reiterate the purpose of Chick-Fil-A and its employees, that being to be the best steward that we could be to Jesus Christ, over and over and over again, to the point where it was just getting straight up cold. And on the next page, there's a list of words that we couldn't say and what to say in place of them. Now, these banned words weren't cuss words, slurs, or any sort of hate speech. They'd be your average everyday sayings, such as of course and you're welcome. And Op explains that this is because, unlike McDonald's, we actually pride ourselves with hospitality and customer service. And I don't know if this is a Chick-fil-A wide thing, or it was just my location, but even during the interview, McDonald's was catching strays from the managers. But because of how much better Chick-fil-A is than McDonald's, when referring to our coworkers, we weren't allowed to say okay. Instead, we had to say heard, like this was some Gordon Ramsay show. And then the next list consisted of appearance things that weren't allowed to fly. And of course, piercings were included in that. And on the next slide, as reviewed, there is a plethora of images of people, and upon clicking on one, you get a Harvard essay as to what was wrong with their appearance and why. At this point, I was fresh out of high school, like I just walked across the stage last week fresh, and was more than deserving of a break from any sort of required reading. And these explanations were all self-explanatory common sense. So I skipped to the next slide and keep it pushing. And I guess she figured that I couldn't have read all that fast enough, but let the record show, I'm a very fast reader. Finishing 100,000 word A with prefix in one night is slight work for me. But she puts her finger to the iPad and moves it right back to the last slide, and then goes, no, you have to read every single one of them. Okay. But with that, it was finally time for lunch, and despite not having even done the actual work yet, I was already over this job. Unfortunately, there are no tables for me to decompress and being emo at, so I had to sit with Op for lunch. And another weird thing about Chick-fil-A is you don't get your own food. You order it, and then your coworkers come and serve it to you, giving you the full customer service experience, cold smile, glaze, and all. Lunch ends,
nigga, I'm not eating it. I'm not sitting with them motherfuckers. Them weird ass niggas.
Finally, time to start doing some actual work. And I
You
worked
better than me. It's the first day you expect me to sit right next to you? Fuck out of here.
A service job before. Needless to say, this was not my first rodeo with the register. However, the job in question was a retail job, and retail and food registers are in completely different cinematic universes. So looking at the format, I'm not gonna lie, it was a tad bit overwhelming. And for once, I was thankful for Op because she was giving him a very detailed rundown of the register. And for the first 10-15 minutes, I was locked the F in. But then she started going over every single possible food combo that could ever exist ever. And the food combo lecture went on for a good, no exaggeration, 45 minutes. But she finally stopped talking and it was time to get to #work. When talking to customers, I would get sayings from my old job and then modify it in a way that would fit Chick-fil-A. Or at least I thought it would fit. What's a good name for the order? You can't say that. Okay. I can say the next person in line. No, you need to say I can serve the next guest in line.
Nigga, get off my dick. Get off. You know how many Chick-fil-A employees I heard say those first 2 lines, nigga? Apparently all of them need to be fired. What?
Will that be all for you today?
What?
No. You need to say, how else may I serve you today? Like, everything had to be said so meticulously to the point where it was actually ridiculous. And then, of course, Op hits me with, if we have to keep correcting you on how to say things, you're gonna get written up. Op also wouldn't let me do anything. When taking an order, you get every part of that person's order before you ask them for their name. So I would get a customer, start them off, and then she would swoop in, kick me off, and then would get on me for not asking for their name, even though she wouldn't even let me get that far to do so. I'd be more understanding if it was packed with everybody and their mama up in there, and if people weren't getting their chicken minis in 0.03 seconds, somebody would start getting ghetto. But there'd be one, maybe two people in line, max. Like, this was by no means rush hour. I think she had her C blank A's mixed up, because with how serious she was treating this job, you would have thought it was the CIA. No, girl. This is barely above minimum wage, CFA. But at this point, I'm starting to feel like some serious sugar honey iced tea, and not the Chick-Fil-A kind, because I was getting told for the past few hours that I wasn't doing anything right, and not even in a way that was constructive. Like,
bro, what do they expect on your first day on the job, nigga? Like, what? You've only been there for 2 hours. Obviously, I ain't doing shit right. What the fuck? Niggas are weird.
Apologies for
I don't even want to eat Chick-fil-A no more.
not knowing how to do my job on the first day of said job. I would say, my pleasure, but it would never be said with enough enthusiasm. I would smile, but it would never be loud. And to add on to the smiling part, when I would turn around to make a drink, my smile would drop, because that's customer service 101 right there. And there had to be a camera somewhere, because the millisecond it dropped. Jalen, why aren't you smiling? Like, this was something straight out of 1984.
No.
I say with confidence, because I definitely read the book when it was assigned, and didn't just Google a summary off of Spark Notes. My shift is practically over, and Op asked me, okay, so what do you think you did good today? I was good with getting the drinks out quick. Sure. Okay, now, what do you think you could have improved on? And I knew what she wanted me to say, so I said it. I smile. Yeah. So, if we have to keep telling you to fix your attitude and fix your smile, you're gonna get written up. And with that, my first day was finished.
Write
and
me
I said
up,
goodbye
bro.
to everybody.
Just write me up, bro. You want to write me up just because you're giving me a write up, my nigga. God damn. You don't do this, you're getting written up. You don't do that, you're getting written up. You don't smile, you're getting written up. My nigga, you might as well write me up for writing me up, my nigga. God damn.
Because if you don't greet all your coworkers when you come in and bid them farewell when you leave, you guessed it. And with a sliver of my sanity still intact, I'm walking out the door, and I hear Op call out to me, make sure you get those nails fixed. And for whatever reason, that was my last straw. One thing about
that would piss me off too. You're gonna lie. We already established today's Monday. Tomorrow is my second day. My third day isn't until Saturday. You feel me? I told you by Saturday, these nails will be off. I'm a man. I ain't got nails. These nails will be off. We already came to that agreement. Why, when I'm walking away, you talking about some, don't forget to get them nails off. Oh, I'm about to get them off. Trust me, because they about to be 6 inches deep in your freaking face, bro.
me, when I feel a lot of anything, I cry. So when I'm really happy, I cry. When I'm really sad, I cry. And when I'm really frustrated, I cry. And I was so frustrated, and the whole drive back I felt so conflicted, because I was like, yes, this pay is sexy AF, but what good is it if I come home like this after every shift? And after a mini crash out on the Finsta and a talk with my parents, I made the executive decision to quit. So later the same day, I pulled back up and did right just that. Went in and asked for a manager, and I will say not one person was smiling, but whatever. I sit down with one, and obviously she asked me why I'm quitting. I told her everything I told y'all, and trust and believe I was very much name dropping, and I even said straight up that I felt that if I even breathed the wrong way here, I'd get written up. A day or two later, I came back to return the uniform. On the way home, I got Chick-Fil-A at a different location, obviously, duh. And on top of nobody smiling, you would never guess what I saw. Moral of the story, the next time you go to a Chick-Fil-A, be extra nice to the employees, because 9 in 10 chance they're getting tortured in the basement. But thank you so much for watching, and stay blessed.
Hell no, that shit is insane. I might go eat some Chick-Fil-A just to be like, you okay? You want some food? I'll buy it for you. I know you're going through hell right now. Oh, I'm telling you. Dang, that's crazy. Confessions of a Chick-fil-A Employee by Jalen. Hey, man. That's crazy. I ain't gonna lie. That's crazy. That's crazy. But hey, like the video. Comment down below. Let me know how you feel. Are you still eating Chick-fil-A after learning about their demons? Or are you gonna eat their food like a good little angel? Let me know that shit down below. Like the video, hit the notification bell, and as usual, I love you. Be safe, and I'll see you in the next one.